You can hear me, but you can't see me. I'm working on that. It's Mark Adam over here in the WPG Sports headquarters. I'm joined by the guy that you can see in Keith McKnight. How are you doing over there, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. I do want to point out to those watching that we do have our chat going, and already James Robinson is in there saying top of the morning, lads. So good morning to you, sir, you as well, sir. And while Keith McKnight and I go to this 30-second ad, I will fix my webcam. That's not working. So we will hear a word from our sponsor right now. We'll be back in 30 seconds, gentlemen.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aqua-Tech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been delivering complete customer satisfaction for over 40 years. Whether it's a fully completed backyard escape, a completely renovated bathroom, or a premium upgrade on outdoor furniture, Aqua-Tech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aqua-Tech job, it's an Aqua-Tech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors. We do it all. Visit our one-of-a-kind showroom today at 1065 Dugald Road. Aqua-Tech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We create better places to come home to.
Yeah, yes, they do. Oh, is it working? Hey, I'm here. I showed up. Not just phoning this one in, literally. This one is actually me. I'm here. So the Jets last night, they played a game against Calgary. And before we break it all down, let's tell people that they can follow us on all the social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Like and subscribe. That goes a long way for us. Please. I'm doing this is the Donald Trump. This is convincing, right? He got half a country to vote for him by doing this over and over again and saying ridiculous things. So this must be convincing somehow. Click like and subscribe. We really like that. And you can also have your say. Call or text the WPG Sports line 431-800-4555, or email the LZ at thewpg.ca. We want to hear from you for sure. Hopefully everything's working on the other end. We got sound going. It sounds good. I got Keith over here. He's stoic as a statue, but that's his demeanor, not a frozen screen. So we're rolling today, boys and girls, and however you identify. I don't want to leave anyone out. So that said, let's jump into last night's game and have a quick look at the stats that we were rolling with. I'm just going to bring those up for you for those that are watching the live stream and or this video on demand. For those listening to the podcast version, I will read these statistics out for you. And first of all, 4-0. 4-0 for the Jets. Finally, some positive on the actual results side of things. We keep talking, as these games have progressed, how they're getting better and better, and there's a lot of positives to talk about. One of the things that we haven't been able to talk about is positive results. So 4-0, only 19 shots to get those 4 goals. So we're back to them having less shots, but more accurate, more deadly finishing, which we love to see. 52% in the faceoff circle. They did manage to win in the faceoff circle and win the game, which hasn't happened in a while. So 1 for 3 on the power play, where Calgary went 0 for 5. And the hits were quite low, considering how this game had a playoff style feel to it. 9 hits for the Jets and 19 for Calgary seems quite low, given the fact that we've seen games earlier in the season that had 30 hits on either side and only 2 or 4 penalty minutes on each side. So it was a little more rough and tumble, but a little less straight on hits. It was more battling for the puck and all that kind of stuff. The score sheet tells the story that the Jets fans want to see. Calgary fans want this one to somehow get lost in a fire. I'm not sure. But you see here Lowry with a 3-point game, 2 goals and an assist. Love that the guy's back. He's the backbone of the team. Wheeler, 2 goals. Kopp, 2 assists. Scheifele, Stastny, each with an assist. And I think there was a couple of defensemen with assists as well. Just not enough room on that screen there. But lots of positive movement from the Jets last night. Hellebuyck, 32 for 32 in that, which gives him the old 1,000 down there. I love that. Next game for the Jets is May 7th against Ottawa. Calgary also will play Ottawa next, but not until the 9th. They have to wait till we're done wrangling them first. So, all that said, what did you think of the effort put forward by the Jets last night, Mr. McKnight?
It's about time that we got to see the team that we were once used to seeing at the beginning of the season and mostly in the middle as well. It's only that, like Paul Marie said, this losing slump is something that's only been happening recently. Nonetheless, it does suck that it was very close to the end of the season. But like I said, it's very nice to see this team get back into the groove, get back, whatever you may want to call it, get out of the rut. But it was good to see the effort that they put in last night to come out on the winning side, Mark.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had a lot of positives going for them. They played really good tape-to-tape passes. They broke out of the zone well. They forechecked well. They covered their goaltender's butt, and they just had a full game. And it's been a while since we've actually seen that. So I'm happy that we get to report not just a win, but like a decisive win. Oh no. Back. Sorry about that. I pushed the wrong button and closed the program. I can't get through an episode without a technical problem. I just can't. Oh, I'm dying over here. That's okay. I don't want to, go on a murderous rampage or anything. It's cool. But now that we're back, we are rolling. Sorry about the disconnect there. It's going to require some editing later on, I'm sure. But sorry, where were we before I pressed that button and sent us into the ether? Mr. McKnight, we did have James Robinson in the chat saying crisp high fives for everyone after that.
Fives there, yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
And then we were talking about, it was nice to see that the Jets, we're finally the team that for finally playing like the team we were once used to seeing. And I just wanted to say this, one of the men's league teams that I play on, the name of the team is Shooting Blanks. And the Calgary Flames over there shot nothing but blanks last night. Look at that score sheet.
I know. The big zeros. Love it. I love seeing that. Calgary obviously will not like to see that. The Calgary Flames needed that win pretty desperately, and while they are not mathematically eliminated at this point, it's more or less a foregone conclusion. So before we get it, I have a whole list of stuff to get into today about last night's game, and before we do that, I would like to talk about who we each thought the player of the game was. We're going to start with you, Mr. McKnight. If you in the chat want to chime in, please do. We're happy to have your thoughts on this as well. So, McKnight, go.
It's going to be Connor Hellebuyck for me. Finally came back to like the goalie, like we were all like, if the Jets came back like a team that we were used to seeing, I was really going to have to take my hat off to Connor Hellebuyck, actually, based on the shutout performance that he had last night. That was definitely the Vezina Trophy recipient that we were all used to watching. Definitely don't know if he's going to be in the talks very much now, regardless of the 7-game losing streak. But no, let's just talk about last night's game. He's definitely my pick of the night. How about you?
For me, I am going to have to go with Andrew Kopp. Shout out to Adam Lowry. He came back, got 3 points on the night. Love seeing that guy produce. But Andrew Kopp was with him every step of the way. The breakaway that Lowry scored on, Kopp was directly behind him. The reason Lowry got to score his first goal was because Kopp and Mason Appleton were looking off that defenseman, making it impossible for that defenseman to attack Lowry because he had to be conscious of the passing options available. And so that is why I have to go with Andrew Kopp. 2 assists on the night, absolutely in sync with Lowry, as I just mentioned. Best penalty killer on the whole team, on both teams, on any team. He's one of the best penalty killers in the league. He's having a career year points-wise, master of all trades. Jack of all trades, master of none. This guy, it doesn't matter what he does this year, he's just good at it. The guy had a 1 minute and 44 on the power play. He had 5 minutes and 22 seconds penalty killing, and a total time on ice of almost 19 minutes. So, I mean, he was everything and everywhere for the Jets last night. I really, really enjoyed his play. So, I don't know. I have to give it up to Kopp. As much as I want to say Lowry was our guy because he was back, and everybody keeps saying he's the heart of this team. Honestly, it was Kopp for me that made the biggest difference. So we got. I want to acknowledge that absolutely Hellebuyck played a phenomenal game, but he didn't have as stressful a game as he normally has because the defense and the forwards in front of him made his job easy. There were very few grade A opportunities that Hellebuyck had to put up with, So that said, we have this chat box here. It's this blue void that did have some things in it a little while ago, but I closed the app and it reset it. So pump those comments into the chat. We want to hear from you. Just this technical difficulty thing is really starting to chafe me. Anyway, but lots of storylines to get to here. First and foremost, the Jets scored first. That's a big deal. At the end of the day, they didn't get scored on at all, which is nice. But they actually got out and they scored first, and they scored early, and they made a statement with that. How big of a difference do you think it made that they scored first last night, sir?
Oh, it made a huge difference for the Jets, and that's exactly what they need for making sure that they can have some momentum, get some energy on their side, and create some chemistry early on.
Yeah, I really thought that was important that they get that out of the way. And not only did Lowry get the first goal, he got the first 2 goals. So, and then I guess that woke Wheeler up because all of a sudden he nets himself a couple really nice backhanders. But Jets scoring first, I thought really that established, okay, we're not here as a joke. What did they have, like 1 goal in 7 games or something silly like that? It was something like that, yeah. It wasn't a good time. The previous 7 games were not fun times. So I wasn't quite that bad, but I'm exaggerating obviously, but the getting that first goal, getting out in front, that was important, I thought. Hellebuyck, as you pointed out, played absolutely amazing, but he didn't have to be the hero. How did you find the defensive pairings were all, goofed up and moving around and all that kind of stuff? And how did you think that the Jets played last night?
I think they played pretty good. I don't think Connor Hellebuyck tried to do too much. The reason why he probably stood out that way is because, the playoffs are coming around and he's been in a bit of a slump, right? He really wants to get out of that funk, and then they're going to the playoffs and he doesn't want to go in with that type of energy. So he just really took it as like a playoff game, I felt, last night. So not that he was trying to be a hero or anything, but I felt like he showed up mostly important for the team. Yeah, the defensive pairings were a bit shuffled up and we're mixed up on behalf of Paul Maurice finally, but it worked out last night finally.
Yeah, there was some I don't even know what to call it, but it just seemed like they were a different team last night. Right? Maybe helped by the fact that the leaders showed up last night. Scheifele looked like a different guy from the previous 7 games. Wheeler was an absolute tank. And on Wheeler's second goal, the 2 best buddies, Wheeler and Scheifele, hit milestones on both sides. That was Wheeler's, when Wheeler scored that goal, assisted by Scheifele, that was Wheeler's 800th NHL point and Scheifele's 500th NHL point. That's a big deal. Go. Big deal. Carrie Bilkowski in the chat saying, loved the energy our boys were playing with. I agree. And it all started with that leadership. Lowry back in the lineup. And, Wheeler looking like our captain last night, as Kerry Bukowski says in the chat here. So I thought that was a wonderful effort by the whole team, but it started at the top. It started at the top with Scheifele and Wheeler and Lowry, and it trickled down, and I thought Mason Appleton played a great game. I thought Harkins had a great game. And Ville Heinola, that guy was in last night, and he had 12 minutes of ice time, 2 penalty minutes, and a shot. Those are the stats for him. But I thought overall he played very well. He looked confident. He looked capable. He was moving the puck well. He had some sort of creative ways to get the puck out of the zone. And I thought he was a little bit of a, even though he only played the 12 minutes, he was a bit of a shining light. Well, it was probably closer to 13 minutes by the time the game was done. I took that stat with a couple of minutes left, but he was out there for the end of the game, I believe. So Granola Heinola. There you go. Is that how you pronounce? Is that you telling me how they're pronounced? Is it James?
I'm gonna go. I just remember one of the Paul Edmonds just going Ville Heinola, so I'm just gonna keep it simple like that.
Yeah, and I just hear people say it differently.
Yeah, here we go. We're on to something here.
Granola Heinola. Maybe that's how is that. Maybe that's the pronunciation key. But I won't feel confident saying his name until I hear him say it out of his own mouth one time. Like there's gonna have to be some sort of feature where he's like, "Hi, I'm Ville Heinola." He's going to have to say it for me to feel confident saying his name, but I digress. The point is, I thought he played well last night. McKnight, what do you think?
I thought he showed up very well too. It's nice to see a young gun really get an opportunity in such an important game, especially when the Jets were touted to not come out on the winning side with the type of momentum that they've had with them. So it was really nice to see him get that opportunity and capitalize on it as well.
Yeah, it was the fans, and I was in the Discord chat at the time, and everybody was just so excited about Ville Heinola, and it was just so much fun. It just was like watching those people have that chat. I interjected here and there, but I was mostly in there, people watching as they just marveled over this kid, and they were in love with Lowry last night, the way he was playing and the fact that he was back. And I think there's a bunch of them that have a crush on him, but it doesn't matter. The point is, the whole team just sort of had a game last night. They actually played, and, I can't say enough of good things about the way they played last night. Now, the question is, can they continue that? Last night had we are undefeated with him in a lineup, says Kerry Bukowski. That's true. Ville won. Love it. But playoff atmosphere last night, closest to the playoffs that we've seen so far. Calgary was desperate. They really needed that win. They now, like as I said, they're not mathematically eliminated, but I think what has to happen for them to make the playoffs, I think Montreal has to lose every game they got left, and Calgary has to win out every game they have. I think they have to get 2 points in every game they got left, and Montreal has to get nothing in order for Calgary to make the playoffs. So last night was a huge game for them. They could have put things a little bit more in their own control, had a little more say in their own destiny, but the Winnipeg Jets, also desperate for some wins right now, were the team that came out of the Battle of Atlanta a little bit stronger. So the two former Atlanta franchises coming together there. So it's a lot of fun. Complete game, first time in a while. Were there some other positives that you saw in their game? Pick somebody else out of the lineup there that had a great game.
Pick someone else here. Mark Scheifele, because he finally, he just decided he would check in. Seemed like he checked out for a couple games, seemed like he was in another world there. So nice to see him show up again.
Yeah, I thought he was important on that lineup last night. So again, like I said, there was a full team effort, but it started at the top, and everybody else caught wind real early that this was going to be one of those games, and off they went to the races. And they were the Jets that we remember from from the beginning of the season. As you said before, that wasn't just the Hellebuyck from the earlier in the season. That was the whole team, whole effort. That was the Scheifele that we're used to. Wheeler getting 2 beauty backhands, really, really patient goals. Both of those were examples of a veteran being a veteran, you know? Like the guy on the breakaway there, he very, very casually pulled that puck over to the backhand. A lot of players, younger players, would have seen that pressure and kept it to the forehand and tried to do something on that side. But Wheeler just knew he had the step, was patient, stepped in. And then on that second goal he scored, I mean, Markstrom had no chance. No chance. That was absolute. It was so gorgeous. The way he made it look like he was going to go for the one time and then pulled it around the sliding Markstrom and buried it. Love it. Love it. James Robinson, Morrissey, Pionk finally paired together. I thought that was important too. I thought that the way that the D were stacked, I thought Pullman, Forbert were a bit of a liability. They were quite the question mark out there. A little more often than I would have liked, but Pionk Morrissey is a very effective pairing to the point where they were out on the power play at one point together because they got 2 guys that really know what's going on. Neither one of them have that big bomb. Neutral zoner, who joins us on the show every so often, I was talking with him last night, and that was one of his observations. Was Pionk and Morrissey don't have those big booming shots, and we need that from the point, and that's where a guy like Logan Stanley can help you out. But if you bring in Logan Stanley now, who do you pull? Because Ville Heinola, he showed that he is capable. He showed that he belonged in that lineup. And he'd been biding his time, gritting his teeth, twiddling his thumbs, and waiting for his chance to show what he can do. Now, let's talk defensive pairings real quick, and then we'll get into the young guns again. So, defensive pairings, what did you think of that? Obviously, James Robinson thought that was a positive. Where do you fall on that, sir?
No, I'm right behind James on that too. Got to agree with this comment there.
Yeah. So, of the 3 pairings, where you got Pionk, Morrissey, Forbert, Pullman, and then DeMello, Heinola, who'd you like? Which of those pairings was your favorite last night?
The first one with Morrissey and
Pionk.
Yeah.
They're I thought that was, it's ballsy because the reason they haven't done that to this point is because Forbert and Pullman, they don't want to pair them together as much as they can because those guys they're not as effective individually as you would like at this point. And and at this point I mean like over this terrible stretch we've had, right? So they were the only question mark on the defensive end for me. I really like the other 2 pairings. And again, another example of a game where I thought DeMello played quite well. And I haven't been able to say that this season up until the last couple of games. He's really shown up for me in the last 2-3 games. So Dylan DeMello, I liked his play last night. Kind of overshadowed by the fact that he was partnered with this up-and-coming stud, Ville Heinola. So I'm just going to say it all 3 ways every time. So that said, we saw Ville have some success last night. Does that mean 4 games left, we've clinched a playoff spot, there's the X by our name, do we just go ham and let some younger guys play now? Sammy Niku, let him play. Where's Sandberg? Why not? Where's
why not give him a shot, right? See what they can create.
Where's Cole Perfetti? Right? Get them
AHL All-Star Rookie of the Month, getting no shot at all.
Yeah, well, if you're not going to play them full time, you don't want to bring up those guys, right? It's dangerous, and we talked about the whole taxi squad, healthy scratches. How has that been managed this year? And I thought it's been managed rather poorly. There hasn't been enough rotation from the Moose through there. If you're not going to rotate guys out of the Jets lineup, you have to rotate guys out of the Moose lineup so that the guys aren't sitting on the taxi squad and or healthy scratches without playing any games for the Moose, right? You want to see them getting ice time. You want to see them performing at their best and having those opportunities. So I don't know. But I think it's time. Let them play. Let them play. What do y'all think? Let me know in the chat. Hit us up on the WPG Sports line. Sorry you were delayed there. I didn't know if you were going to come in or not.
No, I mean, just shouting out to the fans there and all the viewers in the chat. Please leave your comments.
Yeah, I really want to hear what y'all think. Y'all. My dad hates when I say that. Fair enough. And I hate country music, so it works. Hate is a strong word. Country music's not for me. I get the appeal. It ain't for me. But don't forget to follow us on all the social medias. So that'll be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and ye old YouTube. Also, this show streams live on our YouTube channel, live on our Facebook page, and live on our Twitch channel, which I don't know how many people are that watch sports stuff. There's a lot of crossover with gamers. So if you're a gamer, head over to twitch.tv/the WPG magazine and subscribe, follow us, message us, if you're a gamer and you're a streamer in town, let me know. We can have it so like when we're offline, your videos could be featured through our channel. Hit us up. I'm just saying Winnipeg, man. We're here for Winnipeggers. Let them play, says James Robinson in the chat. Harkins, Dubois, Vesalainen would be a fun line. I agree. That would actually be a great line. What do you think of that, Mr. McKnight? Harkins, Dubois, Vesalainen.
That would be interesting to see that. See what kind of fire those guys might bring out. Yeah, you got to think about that for a second. It's hard to overlook that.
I think that might be an interesting way to get a little more out of Dubois, putting him with some guys that have some creativity of their own, but are younger and need a little bit of sort of guidance or whatever. Dubois, not that he's this, seasoned veteran at this point. He's young himself, but he's got a little more, NHL experience, and I think playing with some young guys will remind him of how creative he can be. We've seen, how many highlights have you seen of the guy making some crazy creative offensive maneuvers, right? The guy, he's got hands, he's got skills, he's got puck sense. There's a reason that we traded for him, and what we gave up was Laine and Roslovic. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for that. So Harkins, Dubois, Vesalainen is a line that I would not be upset about seeing, to be honest. That would be great. I like where your head is at, Mr. James Robinson. Thank you for throwing that in the chat. Other line combinations that you got out there, send them in. We want to hear from you. I'm not sure if the Facebook and Twitch chat messages pop in here. I'm not sure. We'll mess with that. The Facebook and Twitch stuff is a sort of a test for us the last couple of episodes. Carrie Blakowski says, yes, get the kids in there. Simon Leung, am I pronouncing that right? Will either play Edmonton or Toronto in the first round, and I'm not sure we prefer one over the other. So I think it's a good time to try new things. I agree. That's a great point. Odds are we're going to end up playing Edmonton, but if this was a one-off and we lose the rest of our games, we could very well end up in fourth, which could mean we'll spoil the whole Montreal-Toronto series, but that a lot of people want to see that. But I'm indifferent. I don't care who we play, as long as we make the playoffs and we're playing well, we have a shot. If the Jets can figure out McJesus, aka McCheatcoat, aka McDrysidle,
AKA McDusty sometimes, that's what we need to help him when he sucks.
Yeah, we got to get this guy off his game somehow, especially if they're a first round opponent in the playoffs. But we don't have another opportunity before the playoffs start to see them again. The rest of the games that the Jets will be playing, all at home, by the way, the 4 games left, on the 8th against Ottawa. Is that right?
Yeah,
No.
Saturday, May 8th, right?
Is it the 8th?
Yeah, tomorrow's the 7th, yeah. Maybe
I goofed up. I got it all. I'm all twisted and
No,
turned
the
and
Jets
whatever.
play Saturday.
Saturday, so we got 2 days off. The game is
Saturday,
not
May 8th.
tomorrow. The game is not tomorrow. I just got to get that out of my head. It's funny because like game, and then we shoot in the morning, and then the game's the next day, and then we shoot the next morning, and then I'm just so used to that schedule. But yes, 2 days off. So we'll be here Sunday morning at 11 a.m. after the Ottawa game on Saturday night, 6 o'clock start. So a nice early one. Finally, we've been dealing with a lot of late night starts recently, but these, when we play Ottawa, it's the Eastern teams. I like those earlier starts. But so that one's at 6 on the 8th. Then we play Vancouver twice on the 10th and 11th. Both of those games are 7 p.m. starts. And then the 14th is the last game of the year against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that'll be a nice little last-minute tune-up for the playoffs. Also a 7 o'clock start on the 14th. Last night in the division, let's look divisionally. The Montreal Canadiens took an absolute beating from the Ottawa Senators. And the only other game was obviously the 4-0 win that Winnipeg had against the other former Atlanta team in the Calgary Flames. Let's have a quick look at the actual playoff picture, if you will join us over there. The playoff picture looks pretty good for the Winnipeg Jets with a nice little X beside their name. I like it. I like seeing it. I want to see more of it. 3-7-0. I want to see less of that. I want us to get back to that 7-3-0, 8-2, 8-2-0, 7-2-1 I'll take, at this point. But no 6-4s, no 2-8s. Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to 1-9, thank goodness, but we did prior to this game against the Calgary Flames last night. The Jets were sitting at 2-8 in their last 10, so they did improve to 3-7. Improve to 3-7 is a statement that you never want to hear, by the way. That's just rough. But let's keep looking at these stats here. Toronto obviously in control of their own fate, 72 points. As long as they win one more. Maybe they need 2 more. There is a chance that Edmonton could end up in first, to be honest. So maybe if we don't slide into fourth, we could still end up playing Toronto if Edmonton overtakes them. The odds of that are pretty low. Toronto would have to lose the 4 remaining games they have, basically. But honestly, the biggest thing right now, look at this this thing. Ottawa, first of all, not in 7th place because, well, that's not fair either because actually it is fair. Vancouver's points percentage and their number of points is below Ottawa. So Ottawa out of the Scotia North basement, 7-2-1 in their last 10. They are the best team in this division over their last 10 games. That is absolute insanity. And I can't get over that. And James Robinson in the chat saying the same exact thing. Sens with 7-2-1. Love it. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Vancouver 3-7-0. They're in the same boat in the last 10 as the Winnipeg Jets, which doesn't say much about the Jets, to be honest. But luckily, and I say luckily, Winnipeg put the work in early in this season. So when they had that monster slump, which again, biggest losing streak since their return, or since their move from Atlanta, I say return, since their move from Atlanta, since the Jets 2.0 era, that was the longest losing streak the Jets have ever recorded. Insane. The longest winless streak in NHL history, I think, is like 30 games, also set by the Jets 1.0, way back in the day. And if you keep your eyes on the WPG.ca, or more specifically the WPG.ca/sports, you can. The WPGA. Yeah, if you keep your eyes on there, you're going to see more. There's going to be an article posted about, the losing streaks and stuff put together by our resident Redditor, Mr. Neutral Zoner. So that's a piece that'll be up on the WPG.ca later today, or I mean, maybe tomorrow, but probably today. We got a comment from Carrie Bukowski in the chat. Sens get ragged on a lot, but are actually a great young team. And I agree. They just have struggled to put any kind of semblance of a point streak together. But yeah, he also says they will be dangerous in the coming seasons. I agree. And I've been saying that for a couple of episodes now. Their future looks very bright in Ottawa. So again, Senators fans, it's rough now. It might even be rough next year. But, coming into the next couple of seasons, James Robinson says if they can carry momentum into next season, Sens might be a dark horse playoff contender. You know what? If they can carry this momentum, I agree. We'll see what happens in the off season, but you also have to remember that all the other teams are going to be adjusting themselves because, the way the last third of this season has gone, I feel like it's been a little bit of a, the poor teams are performing well, the good teams are not. And then all of a sudden Calgary obviously decided to go the other way at the end there. But they did have a very bad start to the season, says Simon Leung. A really bad start to the season, if I want to quote him correctly. But yeah, I agree. The Senators are a dangerous team when you let them be. Ask the Montreal Canadiens last night, 5-1. The Ottawa Senators steamrolled the Canadiens last night, and we saw it a couple of days ago when they beat the Winnipeg Jets. They're not a team that is easily discouraged. They're young. They know it. They know they've got nothing to lose. They've got nothing to prove. They're just out there to play hockey and get together as a unit, and they're really looking dangerous right now. So, I mean, are they in the playoff talks? Absolutely not. They're not. We're not at that point yet. My puppy's down here. Can you see him? No, you can't. Muppet. I got a husky cross. He's a pretty dog, but get all those likes. Click, 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 click. Like, I like it. If just people liking for the dog. Carrie Bukowski with a hot take. Toronto will be a cusp of the playoffs team next season. You know what? They are having a lot of success this year. I didn't expect it to last this long, to be honest, but they are the real deal. I, who was a Montreal fan growing up, I'm not from Winnipeg. And the Jets were gone for 15 years before anybody jumps on me. But yeah, Toronto will be a cusp of the playoffs team next season. I don't know. I'd like to see them narrowly make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see them struggle their way in, because it's always good to see Toronto in the playoffs. It's good for hockey in Canada when Toronto's successful. It just is. That's just how it is. But as a guy who spent most of my life hating the Leafs, it's hard to be happy for their success. Although I really do. I am impressed by their play this year. They've been very consistent when I really didn't think that they were going to be able to hold on that long.
Yeah, I don't understand where Ottawa just all of a sudden decides to show up, and you have to agree with Carrie about that. I felt that firing Guy Boucher was not the right move either. That was not their problem. But yes, with the roster that they have and what they're building around, I think that they definitely will be a really good team in the seasons to come. The one thing that really makes me sad, and I don't know if it's because he's from Winnipeg, but Mark Stone, for him to earn a C in Las Vegas just shows that Ottawa probably shouldn't have exposed him in the draft, and they highly overlooked him. And shout out to Mark Stone, because he's worked for everything that he has in this league. So I feel like just the Winnipeg connection is there. But I got to agree about Ottawa coming into the season, in a couple seasons being a better team, and a struggling Toronto team heading into the playoffs. I have to agree that would kind of be nice to see, because all Leafs fans believe that this is the year, and they've been saying that every year. So that's just always a nice thing to poke a little fun at.
Yeah, and staying there would never have won him a cup.
That's true. Exactly.
There's no chance they turn it around in time for Mark Stone to. Oh, I'm sorry, I bumped the mic. But there's no chance they turn it around in time for Mark Stone to enjoy the fruits of that. So letting him go was the right thing to do for him. And considering, pardon me. Considering that they've got a rebuild on their hands and they have a ton of young talent in their stable, I think him going was the right thing to do, to be honest. They knew the Ottawa Senators were not anywhere near cup run ready at the time, and they're probably farther from that now, but they're headed in the right direction at least, So
and that's good. That's a really a good thing that they can rebound for, because they've had some really, really tough times over there.
All right, quickly, the rest of the league. Let's talk about them for half a second, because they're. I mean, it's shaping up to be quite the playoff situation here. Nashville Predators, by the way, have yet to clinch a playoff spot. I know a lot of Jets fans will be happy to hear that. Chances are they will do so. However, they have 60 points on the year on 54 games played. So I think it's just a matter of not screwing up too badly from here to the end of the season with their last last 2 games. But that's tricky. When you're 2 games away from done your season and still haven't clinched, that's a little rough, honestly.
Very rough.
So that's tough to take. But I mean, again, Jets fans will be happy to hear that. There's not a lot of love lost with the Nashville Predators in Winnipeg. Let's talk about Washington for a sec. You picked them the other day as your hottest team, your team that you think is got the best shot right now. And
yeah,
there's been a little bit of stuff going on over there. Tom Wilson I
saw that. They fought off the draw.
3 fights off the opening face-off in last night's match between the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals, precipitated by the non-suspension of Tom Wilson for an egregious act in the previous matchup. And that's the other thing about these like series that we're playing, these MLB style mini series throughout the season, is that, it isn't play them and then move on. It's, you play them for 2-3 nights in a row. So if you do something stupid on night 1, which, Tom Wilson is just sort of his bread and butter, is doing dumb things, then you have to pay for that later. And the NHL not suspending Tom Wilson is what allowed that chaos to happen. Was it 6 fights in the first 5 minutes? An NHL record. First.
I saw that.
First NHL game.
Looked at that.
That's insane. But what were your thoughts? Did you see the hit that didn't get him suspended? He got the maximum fine under the CBA, but he did not get suspended even 1 game. So, and Panarin was out of the game, right? He's injured now.
Yeah.
So, what did you see the hit, and what did you think of the way the NHL handled that?
It's tough to, I looked at it and it definitely was uncalled for. He definitely should have had a hearing, you know what I mean, with the director of player safety. A suspension, I really don't want to comment that far, but what I do want to elaborate on, though, this is going to get out of hand if the season was, if there was more games in the season, this could have got out of hand. And I really hate to touch a really touchy subject here, but it reminded me of the Steve Moore and Todd Bertuzzi incident, because there was a bounty on this guy's head, right, from an overlapping incident from a previous game. And that's all that was registering in my mind. And I was just very concerned last night when I saw, what was it, 4, what is it, that NHL record, 5 fights in the first 6 minutes of the game. And it got scary to me at one point, because it just seemed that everybody was just after each other and always had a hidden agenda. And there's nothing wrong with answering the call, answering the bell when you step out of line. But last night, I don't know. I felt like this could get a lot worse if these two teams had to keep playing each other.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. It's going to get a lot worse if something doesn't get handled. But then there was all this controversy too, because the New York Rangers sent out a statement, and I had it up here, but it's gone. It was basically to the effect that the guy in charge of player safety should be fired, and Tom Wilson is a repeat offender, and he's basically calling out Tom Wilson and the head of player safety and all this. So the explanation that I got, and it makes sense to a point, is they don't look at who is committing the act first. What they do is look at it and objectively, if this was a first offense, is this a suspendable offense? And then if it is, then they look at who did it, what is their track record, and here's the penalty based on that. So the first thing they look at is, was it a suspendable act to begin with, regardless of who had committed it? And apparently they didn't think it was a suspendable act, so obviously disciplinary action was required, hence the large fine. And by large fine, I mean pocket change to that guy. But
no kidding, it's like a parking ticket.
Yeah, well, honestly, like there's no incentive to stop potentially ruining people's careers when all you get is a fine for it. I thought it was suspendable, and given Tom Wilson's history, I think it goes without saying that he should have been suspended for a significant amount of time. I think you got a guy who has a history of hurting people and not playing with the spirit of the game in mind. And it's a dangerous thing to watch when you got a guy out there that's trying to hurt people. Rangers were fined $250,000. That was for the statement? James Robinson just threw that in the chat. I didn't read that, but I know they.
Wow, $250,000. That's my salary when they draft me in 2027.
Oh yeah, but then there were some firings in New York, and like it's this whole thing. Go to I don't know what, sportsnet.ca or tsn.ca or something like that. Just the drama unfolding over there, ridiculous.
Talk about Broadway.
Yeah, I mean they're not in our division. The WPG we're going to distance ourselves from covering other teams and such. But that is, it's something worth noting here. So I don't know. It's
the Rangers better have a guy on Wall Street who can make that money for them over his lunch break and quickly turn that around for them.
Here's hoping they can do something. But
yeah,
we will leave it at that for today. If you have more comments about the Tom Wilson thing, or any of the line combinations used last night, or the potential of using the young guns, that's really the biggest thing today, was should the young guns get to play? Heinola, they let him play, and I thought that was wonderful. So now 4 games left in the season. We've already clinched a playoff spot. Do they get a look at some more of the young guys? Cole Perfetti, Sandberg, Niku. Let them play. Let them get some ice time in case they are needed in the playoffs. You don't want a rusty guys coming in the playoffs that barely played in the season or haven't at all played in the season against actual NHL teams. I think you don't want to have your discovery phase in the playoffs, and it's a little late for that now, in my opinion. But what do you got to lose now? So, it was announced a few minutes ago, apparently. So I that's why I didn't see it, I guess. So apparently the Rangers were fined $250,000 for that statement, and that's breaking news. We're breaking news here live on the WPG Sports Show. No, the LZ Sports Show on the WPG, part of WPG Sports. But call the WPG. I've said WPG about 1,000 times today. Call or text the WPG Sports line with your thoughts, 431-800-4555. Email the LZ at thewpg.ca, or like normal internet people, you can comment below this video if you're watching on demand. You can comment on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We're on twitch.tv/the WPG magazine. Do like and subscribe, follow, all that. It goes a long way. We really, really appreciate all of the people who do like, follow, subscribe. It means a lot to us, and it also gives us more tools, and it really helps with those algorithms when people are looking for things to watch. The more people that like, subscribe, and share and all that stuff, the more your videos get automatically suggested to people. It isn't an empty gesture. That's what I'm saying. So liking, subscribing, ring the bell to get the notifications. That's so you can not miss more live episodes. But liking and subscribing actually helps us get a lot more traction, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much for everybody that was in the chat today. We really appreciate you guys. You the real MVPs. I won't do that again. I'm sorry. But we, for all of us here, Mr. Keith McKnight, any final thoughts before we say full-on goodbyes?
Just really excited for the Jets on Saturday. Hopefully they can just hopefully they don't make it they can make it 2 W's in a row here.
That would be nice. Starting a streak the other way would be a wonderful turn of events. But for now, for Keith McKnight, I am Mark Adam. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We will see you next time in the LZ.